My name is Kendra and I work at Daechi branch, and today I'm going to talk to you about C2 for Memory Tera, Unit 1, Lesson 2. So this week their project is to use the artificially intelligent machine that they made last week, and they have to design a skit to decide and show whether their artificially intelligent machine would be a success or a failure. The apps that I'm going to have my students use for this project are S-Note, which I also had my students use last week in order to draw and develop their robots, the camera that comes on their tab, and then also Sketchbook, which I think could be really helpful for what I'm going to have them do with the scenes of their skit later in the class. Some issues that I see coming up for this project are that students might be shy, and this project asks them to come up and do a skit in front of the class. So for this project, I decided that I'm going to give my students two options. First, they can do their skit acted out in front of the class with the three scenes, just like it's outlined in the steps of ideation. Or two, I'm going to let my students draw out their scenes, come up with a script, and then show it kind of as a PowerPoint presentation using S-Note. They can embed those pictures maybe from Sketchbook, or if they want to, they could draw out their scene on a piece of paper and then embed it into the S-Note. And then what I'm going to have my students do with their script is read it orally while they are showing their S-Note presentation on the TV during their presentation time. As far as going through the actual steps of the project, I think that the first step of ideation is going to be really helpful because I know last week most of my students just said, "Oh, our robot is going to be a success," and I think that this will be a good opportunity to show students other groups' work and let them decide whether or not their machine is going to be successful or whether it has more problems and maybe it could be a failure. I tried to tell my students for this part that they could turn their skit into a comedy, and they seemed to like that idea, that if their machine was going to be a failure, that maybe they could make their skit into something that was more funny. For the second step of ideation, I am going to have my students work together in their group to decide what exactly will happen with their robot, from the creation to the positive and negative impact to what will happen with it at the end. But when it comes to materialization, I think that my Tera students are going to get a little time management will be a problem. So I'm going to break my students up and give each of them a job. Most of my groups have 4 students in them. So I'm going to have each student write out a script for one scene of their play or their skit, and then I will have one student that will be able to do the introduction and the conclusion, because that will take up the same amount of time. At this point, I'll give my students their 2 options. Now, if their group chooses to do the skit, I will have them still start their S-Note. The person that's in charge of the introduction and conclusion can start on those pages of the S-Note. The other students, I'm going to have them record their skit because I wanted something to go up on the television while they're presenting. Also, I have some props for this point. I brought in like a doctor's kit that I got from Daiso, where they can be playing with the machine in their skit, and I thought that that would be fun for them. So they'll take the videos and then they'll embed each of those videos into their S-Note presentation so that when they come up to the front of the class, the only thing they have to do is read their introduction, show their videos, and read their conclusion at the end of the S-Note presentation. Now, if they decided to do pictures instead, where they didn't want to act in front of the class or they didn't want to record their group acting, at this point I will have each student working on one of the scripts, and then those students will also be responsible for making the picture that goes along with their scene. Now, the pictures will be embedded into the S-Note presentation, just like the other option. But then when they go up to present their project at the end, they and the other members of their group will read the scripts as they flip through the pages for each of the scenes of their project. The last issue that I can see coming up, which kind of came up in Lesson 1 for me, was just that my students are having a little bit of trouble getting used to drawing on the tab. So I think that this is a great place to integrate this screen capture and the picture embedding function. So if my students would prefer to, I'm going to let them draw out their scenes on a piece of paper, then embed that using their camera on their tab into their S-Note. Okay, so that is all I have for you for now. I'll check in with you after I try this out in my classroom. I'll let you know what went well and what maybe I need to change a little bit more for next time. So thank you.